Hello everyone, we're today with Dr. Hesham Hafez, who is a former PhD student. And today we're with him because he's in Bulgaria right now to present a book that he wrote after defending his dissertation. It's a really interesting book. We just come back from the university and from the National Library where he was talking about the book in front of a big audience. And we just want to say a few words also today about the life after the PhD. So how he developed after graduating the PhD, to talk a little bit about the book that he is today to present, and probably to give some good tips to other PhD students like you. So Hesham, welcome again to Sofia. You were one of the first PhD students that we had together with the university here in Bulgaria.
That's true.
And can you just say a few words about that journey? From where you were born to how you grow your business to the dissertation and writing the book.
Oh,
yeah.
This is a very long journey. I have to talk about it, but I will take 5 minutes to talk about it.
Yeah.
So I was born in Egypt. I'm Egyptian.
Yeah.
I left when I was about 20 years old. I went to Austria, Graz. I studied business administration and economics in Graz. I finished and I started to work in Vienna. And I moved from Vienna to Cyprus. And from Cyprus, I moved to Dubai 1995, 1996. And that was my actually business. How did I come actually to the idea to study again? That was actually when I grow my business to a level where I didn't know actually where to go in the next step, with the next stage of my business. And a friend of mine, he told me, why you don't go to Harvard Business School to study? I was 42. And my business was okay. And I said, okay. I checked. I went to executive studies at the Harvard Business School for 3 years, 2006, 2008. And I started to learn how to think. I started to learn how the system of the universities in America actually influence the student, which actually give them or encourage them to think. And I started to write paper about the economy at the time, 2007, 2008. It was the crash of the stock market and the crash of the economy. And I was actually predicting a lot. And 2009, I came back to the school after I was graduated. And then the professor said, hey, Hesham, what you said is correct. I told him, yes, but you told me I don't know anything and this is America and this will recover. He said, no, what you say is correct and what you said is correct. From this moment, actually, I start to think, hey, it means what I'm thinking is not stupid things, but it's very important to the people to know. It's very important to the people to get, because those people I talk to, this is the think tank of the United States of America. It's not normal professors. They are counselor of Clinton, Obama administration, Clinton administration. They are really big guys, big names in the world. And I said, good. That is actually is a good story. I met with Martin Stiger in Vienna. Martin is my friend, and I was talking to Martin, and then he told me, "Give me your paper. I would like to read it." And we were just talking normal. And then when Martin read the stuff and they said, hey, Hesham, this is a very nice paper. Why you don't publish it? I said, yeah, why not? And it was just a laugh stock. And then he said, you know what? It's better to have PhD first in order to say this is a research. This is a scientific research. Because if you say you are a businessman, and there's a million of businessmen, but you don't actually cover this area of research unless you have, I would say, a title, a scientific title that you are really a researcher. I said, not bad idea. So he introduced me to the Unipit, and I met with the people. I met the professor Tenchef and the wonderful professor Yes, I'm a chef. He retired, and I was talking to them about the dominance of the power actually in the world through the innovation. How America dominated the world with the innovation. How it happened in the old history, the old time, and they said, you know what? What you don't focus only on innovation. Forget about the political status of this theme, and then we just focus on innovation. And then I started to really think about innovation, and and then the idea of writing PhD came, and then I started to learn. Actually, guys, I didn't know anything. I forgot how to write essays. I did actually in Harvard Business School, but that was also 10 years ago or 12 years ago. And then I restart again. I was that time maybe 54, 50, yeah, something like that. And then I started to relearn how to write the essays, how to read more books, and then it was a journey. It was, I believe, 1.5 years or 2 years. I cannot remember.
Yeah. I remember. It was around the whole journey. It was around 3 years from the start until.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and then we defend it. We finish it. And then I was going back and forth to Harvard Business School. I go actually every year back to the school to learn and to get more education, what's going on in the world. And one of the time I went back and then I said, hey, I wrote my PhD to my professor, innovation professor. And I told her, do you think is this something for a book to be written about this innovation? And then she read, and then she said, yes. This is very, very interesting because you are exploring actually the transmission of the innovation throughout the history and the view of the civilization. You have the civilization of the Egyptian, the Greek, the Roman, the European, the Islam, the Muslim empire, the American empire, and the Chinese empire. I call it empire or civilization, all of the same. Because this is actually the dominance of the world. I call it empire. That's the reason. The civilization and the power, what this civilization can give and influence the world. I said this is a good as an empire. So, and I gave it to the dean of the Harvard Business School at the time. And also he said, yes, it's a good material. So I start to think about writing the book. I don't know how to write a book. I knew how to search to write a dissertation, but I didn't know how to write a book. So it was also a long journey to look for someone to help me to write the book. So I stayed for almost a year to look for an editor of a book, and I came to these two nice people. They are history professors, economic history professors at the Florida International University in Florida, and one of the most famous actually people in writing about the business history and the history of economy in the United States. And they liked the idea. And then they said, yes, we would like to edit your book. And I said, okay. And then they read it and said, why we don't put as well your biography into the book? Because as a dissertation, it's very, very rigid, actually. It's just research. But as a book, it's a totally different story. Because in the dissertation, you have actually all the evidence, and then you write your theory, you come out with the theory. But in the book, you put the theory, and then you prove it. This is how it will look like, or how it was actually throughout the history. And then you came with a nice story. And the story has to be attractive enough that everyone can read your book.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the good things about the book. Like in the book, you can really be more free with the language that you use.
Yes.
You can reach a bigger audience in this way.
Exactly.
In the dissertation, you have to keep more scientific.
Exactly. And that's why I say all the time, I'm not a book writer, but I'm a researcher, I'm a thinker. I just try to be a thinker. I'm not 100% thinker, but I try to be a thinker. And I got those people to help me to put actually my biography inside the book in order to be able to touch so many audience. Because if I have made it, then the others can do.
Yeah.
And
how did you choose the name, the Global Innovator?
The Global Innovator, actually, it came because when they put my biography into the book, included, and then the supervisor of the book, actually, he was a very nice man. I believe he's 95. His name is Louis Columbus. He is actually the president of the business historian in the United States, and one of the biggest, the godfather of the business historian in the United States. And he listened to my story. I defended actually the book in front of him and another 12 professors at the Johns Hopkins. Yeah. And that was very tough story, actually. I stayed for 4 hours to answer actually why, and they were very happy with with my story. And then he came out with the name, actually. I didn't know what should I name the book. And then he said, Hesham, you are so global. Why don't do it Global Innovator? And then I said, yes, actually I am global. So if I say I was born in Egypt, grew up in Austria or studied in Austria, I married with a Malaysian, I live in Dubai, my kids live in the United States, and I do business in 30 countries around the world, I must say, yes, I can say I globalized the world or my world since I was young. So, and that's why I liked actually the name Global Innovator. And we put the title very clear, how nations have held and lost the innovative age. Yeah. That means how we transmit actually the innovation throughout the history, and it's lost like the pharaohs, like the Greek, like any empire, and how they hold actually the innovation and the innovative age. And from there, I said, how can we create innovative society? If we talk about innovation, then I start to create innovation model and how to explain innovation to the people. This is the most important thing.
Yeah. Because from one side, you actually take this historical background of different nations, but you realize, what do we do now with this knowledge? Okay, so this is the most important thing. With all this knowledge, what do we do now? What do we teach our kids, the younger generation? And I think that the title really is not only describing your biography from one point, but also give inspiration to other people. So they might say, oh, I also want to be the global innovator. So it's really inspiring for people to go out of the small box that they probably live in, and then try to explore different environments in their daily life, but also outside of their country, probably, like you did.
That's right.
Yeah. And a little bit about your career. For me, it's very interesting because you were born in Egypt. We were talking that you started like 99% of all the people in a normal family, and then you developed this multinational company for paper trading and distribution. So can you just say a few words about that journey? So how you innovated within your journey so that you reach to the point where you have this multinational business and you're today the global innovator? Because I believe that if you change something in your environment, first you have to make the change within yourself. So
of course,
you innovate.
Yes, you reflect what you are. Yeah. You look at the mirror and you say, "This is me, guys." Yeah. That's true. Yes, it's a good question. Actually, as I said, the innovation model. I will start with the innovation model in order to put it an example on me. I say the observation model, or how to be innovative. You have to start with observation, creating new idea, born new idea, execute the idea, create value. Yeah. This is actually definition of innovation. That's what we have to define what innovation is. Any new idea, adjusted, adopted idea, which can be executed to create value, implement it to create the value. If I go back and I say to everyone how to be innovative, how to create value, this is the end of the story, the result of any innovation, to have a value. Because if you have an idea and you cannot execute the idea, you go sleep with the idea, it was an illusion, right? So you have to execute it in order to create value. Value means spiritual value, like to help someone to be better, or monetary value, you help yourself and you help your society to be better economically. So when I look at myself, I said my life was 3 stages. Number 1 stage, which is actually also can be life of every one of us. I grew up in Egypt, in a normal family. My parents, they were professors, they were educators. I learned how to read and write early. I learned how to do what they tell me to do. And this, you focus on this, how I have to do what they told me to do. Thinking was not too much available at the time, in the 60s and the 70s. And I believe in Europe is the same story, actually, except in Finland, Denmark now, the system is totally different. But even when I went to Austria, it is the same story. Do, this is what you have to do, that's it. So, and my portion of the life in Egypt, it was the observation stage of my life. I observed everything very, very clearly, and I have seen everything actually, and this is what I ask young people. Observe everything. When you cannot take a decision and then you can change yourself, observe it, absorb it, keep it in your Unterbewusstsein or your subconscious. And then the execution part of the story came actually in Dubai, when I get out of the employment relationship, and then I start my own business. And I start to create monetary value. And the value was big. I created from one-man show, a company, we have been $200 million company around the world with offices in many countries, from Korea, China, Dubai, Vienna, Malaysia. So, and I created from really one-man show. And that was actually the value, the add value. And the other add value, which is spiritual value for me, it was actually going back to school and writing, learning first in Harvard Business School, writing the book, writing the PhD first, and then writing the book. And that was for me a very important spiritual value. And I'm trying now to give that to the people, to bring it back to the people. I try to do as much as I can. Speeches or speak, I'm a speaker somewhere, everywhere almost where I go. I talk about the innovation, how to create innovative society. And this is exactly the value what I give it back. So you as a person, a PhD student or any student, observe your situation, execute it, create value. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. It doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what situation you are in, but you can do it.
Yeah, and that's really one of the great messages that you spread around the world right now while presenting your book, so that everyone can identify themselves. Today you were talking to the young students, but also to the professors. You were talking about their job, but also in their personal life, how they can really innovate there. And for me, it's very interesting, like, there is one moment, of course, there's difference between looking at something and really observing it. Observing it, for me, it's like more you experience it in a different way. So really experience it, not like nowadays you're looking in Facebook or Instagram. But there is this one moment in which you decide, you shift and you decide in which direction to execute, because you observe a lot of things. So in your personal journey, what was that moment when you said, okay, I observed all these things and I decided exactly at that specific thing to execute, from all the things that I observed?
Yes, because the observation, actually, if I talk about observation, if you think that you are looking into your Facebook or your Instagram or TikTok and you look at the things visually, this is not observation. This is entertainment. You entertain yourself, but you don't observe. You don't learn anything. Observation means teaching yourself. If I come to any room and then I look around me, and you really put in your brain that you would like to absorb anything, you will see two things, either a problem or a status quo. You see something, either a problem in the room, you would like to change it, or you need something, you would like to improve it. If you go everywhere and you have it in your brain that you need to absorb and you need to create value to make it better, you will do it. But if you would like to entertain yourself, then look at the Facebook and the TikTok, and you can smile and can laugh your whole life, but you will not add anything to yourself. You will not add a teaching process to yourself. You will forget it. But if you observe this picture, it will stay in your brain. We learn from seeing pictures. We don't learn actually from the seconds what we notice the pictures. Different between notice something and seeing something. And this is what I advocate, that we have to teach our children, co-worker, our student, our people how to observe. Let the kids to go on the street to observe. Let the student, let the people, co-worker, to observe you and talk to them openly. What's wrong with me? You will feel better. You will create more values in your job if you ask your co-worker and your subordinate to do that. And this is the power of observation, but you have to execute. Observation only with the ideas and you go to sleep, there's an illusion.
And nowadays a lot of people are actually close to get this open feedback from others. This is as if they expect only the good feedback, and they're as if not open to, as you say, to invite the others on a daily basis, to give them feedback about themselves. Because as you said today in one of the lectures, even if you go home, you spend 2-3 hours at home, but if you go to your job, you spend there 7-8 hours,
exactly
9 hours, 10 hours. So those people with whom you're working, your colleagues, or if you're professors, your students, they observe you so much more than your family.
They know what is your socks, what is the color of your socks. They know if your mood today is good or bad. Your spouse is screwed you today in the morning or not. So they observe everything. You go back home to your parents, your spouse, or even your cat or your dog, you would be tired and you want to sleep. You watch TV and you sleep. But those people, they are the real people, they observe you. And this is the real people you can have advice from, because they are the real people. They can make you or can kill you.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you said about observation, and you said you might see one of these two, it's a status quo that you might decide that you can slightly change, make it in a better way, or the other issue,
a problem.
The other option is
a problem. You see either a broken chair, I would like to repair the chair, or a chair, as we started, we said we put it here or we'll put it here, how to optimize the status quo. And how can I create value?
With Airbnb, I think, and it was also with Uber.
Yes, that's right.
I think that were very good examples, like from a problem that there is not enough room to accommodate people in a hotel, and then you're looking and you see, okay, this is really an issue. So how you accommodate so many people, and you see so many houses, flats around you, and say, okay, why these people don't open their homes for that? They take money, additional income, no problem. Problem is solved. The same with Uber, with all the taxis.
Exactly.
Even now we were waiting 10 minutes. It could be that it was raining and we were not able to take a car. So that person observed and said, okay, so many cars are passing every second.
Yes.
So let's use them to...
Yes, every single business have been created. It is created by observation. Correct? Any theory is created by observation. So, and that's why it is very important to know and to observe everything happen. So
yeah, and it's very important here. I remember I heard you saying today the difference between to invent something and to create innovation. And it was like, if I'm the one inventing an airplane, a toy, let's say, it could be a toy of airplane. And one thing is to observe it, to create it, to
Yes.
make it the physical
Yes.
object.
yes,
But that's still not bringing value to other people,
Yes.
no matter if it's monetary value or it's spiritual value, as you
Yes.
said. But if I gift this airplane to somebody, or if I sell it online, then I already create value. And this is what you call innovation.
that's right.
So in your-
This is exactly the difference between creative and inventor and innovator.
yeah,
This is very important. Creative, this is something born in you. That you are a singer, you are a writer, you are a painter, you can paint very nice, right? This is something really, it adds to your character, your personality. In order to make it as an inventor or as an inventor first, you have to have a skill to do it. After you have the skill, in order to be inventor is to make from non-tangible things like ideas to a tangible idea, tangible thing, to see it, to touch it. If you can sell that, I'll give it to other people to create value, as you described now, then you are innovator.
yeah,
So invention, different than creation, different than innovator. And then you have to know very clear what is every and each definition means actually in order to explain to your people and to your generation. So this is very important.
yeah. Can you give us an example of innovation that you do with your own self or within your private life, not in your business, not in an organization or whatever? Something that, for example, you did that was a very inspirational, innovative process that you did. It could be with your kids or it could be in your personal life.
It's a very complicated question. But actually, to be honest, I have to say, where I do it in every single person, it is like a company. And if two persons are coming together, they are making a partnership in a company. Even when I got married, I told my wife, the marriage is a company and the kids are the product of our company. If you would like to screw the company to make it bankruptcy, you can. But if you compromise each of us in order to get a successful company to grow for the first, second, third generation, then we have to compromise. We have to tolerate each other's. And that was, thanks God, at 24 years we are married.
Yeah.
And we have two boys, healthy boys. And I say, this innovation story also, you can have it with yourself. I mean, you create new idea, new proposal to the people you are living with you, your parents, your spouse. You can create really a nice environment if you can have a peace inside you. And this peace inside you, you cannot have it unless when you observe the things and you are happy or you can add value to this, which I said, status quo, a problem. If you can add value to make people happy or to give people more money or whatever, to give them to be busy, or even to tell him, oh, you are so smart, or you are so beautiful, and everyone wants to hear that, you are encouraging people to be innovative, you're encouraging people to be alive, because every one of us would like to be memorized.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone, even the kid, 2 years old, comes back from school, Papa, Mama, show. I have here stars, 5 stars. I did something. So even when we die, we would like to be memorized.
Yeah.
We would donate huge money in order to write our name on a school or a church or a mosque.
Yeah.
And this is in our DNA. This is how a human is supposed to be. This is how it is. So I believe to make yourself, your journey, innovative, really you can do it, and you can have peace inside yourself to accept something of what you have here and try to change it. Change is the key of everything.
Yeah.
If you don't want to change, you will stay where you are. Mm-hmm. Change is in you. We have been created to change. You like to change your clothes every single day. Why? It makes you happy, right? You would like to change the hair. The women, they like to change the hair, the color, the makeup, the shoes, to make you what? Happy. It means a change leads you to happiness. And you can actually do that all the time. The only bad thing can screw your life to change your wife. It will cost you a lot of money.
And I think it's very important here to say it's change, but to change it in a positive direction.
Of course. You will change as well to negative, but you have to learn out of it.
Yeah.
We are not angels.
Yeah.
So we are sinners. It's no problem.
Yeah.
But you have to learn out of it.
Yeah.
This is very important. But the initiative to change, this is very, very important. Mm-hmm. To teach the people how to change. And if we change, we can change, and we repair something if we change. Mm-hmm. This is very important.
Yeah. We were talking today at the university that nowadays there are a lot of people who are feeling comfortably enough to stay in the position of follower and not finding that true nature that they have to be a leader, because you might be a leader at home or at your job. Why do you think it's like that? So from one side we have it like born within us to be leaders, but it's so difficult for us to express it in the world nowadays.
That's true, because you don't have, number one, the self-confidence, because you are not comfortable with yourself. Mm-hmm. And when you don't have enough self-confidence, and I say it for myself, the same story. Mm-hmm. I never had a self-confidence in my life, actually, in order to put something for the public to read or something for the public to speak. Mm-hmm. I never. And like me, it's 100,000 examples. I mean, it's normal. And you can only good and you feel comfortable if you change something. If you change the people around you, you get self-confidence. Mm-hmm. Even if you change your clothes, you go out, you feel self-confident. You feel the people, they look at me, I'm better, I am beautiful, I am chic, right? Mm-hmm. So I believe in order to be comfortable with yourself, you have to accept yourself as you are. Mm-hmm. Very, very important. And develop yourself. And developing yourself, it comes only when you look at yourself in the mirror. And I will tell you a very simple exercise to prove what I'm saying. Yeah. Take a paper and a pen and try to write 10 good things in you. You will write 20 without any problem. The same, write 5 bad things about you. You will struggle to write it. Mm-hmm. Despite you might have 10 bad things and 5 good things. Yeah. Right?
You tend to lie yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. The time when you can write 5 bad things about yourself, you are starting to repair yourself. You start to say, yes, this is me in the mirror, I would like to change. Yeah. And from here, you can change. You can be really from a follower to a leader. Even if you are a follower, the followers also, they are leading another followers. Mm-hmm. Because the fellowship, it goes actually, this is the big boss and the general manager, and then the department head, and then the senior employer and the junior employer. So you are in the line of a leadership. But the leadership can be here and the leadership can be here. Everyone is a leader, but you have to believe in yourself that you are a leader and you would like to be here. Develop yourself. You cannot develop yourself unless you are comfortable with yourself.
Yeah, and then you learn yourself to be honest with you, then you can be honest with the others, and also more compassionate, because you know that others also are lacking this good self-esteem, like you probably did, and you learn how to teach them to overcome this.
Yes.
Which will make them better at the end of the day, because if you improve their self-esteem, then they will do their job better.
That's right.
They'll be better at home. Yeah. And Hesham, it's also very important to say it's like a cycle, right? So you do the observation, you do the invention, and then you bring value. And as you said, you go back to school. So you go back again to observe. So we never have to forget it's like a cycling process.
Yes.
So
it's like a cells.
Yeah.
Born, grow, died, another cells born, grow, died. This is actually the biology of the life.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is your character. So you have to rebirth or reborn again in a different way, but bigger way, in order to sustain your existence on the earth. Until you disappear. One time you will sleep, you will never wake up. Then this is fine. You don't die. You go a different life. Because the human being, they don't die. They go to a different position. The soul will stay forever. So this is what I believe.
And that is why you said earlier today, like the book is the thing that you appreciate more than the titles, right?
Sure,
because
sure.
The title goes together with you.
Yes.
After we die, but the book is and the knowledge that you leave, and all these lives that you touched while traveling around the world, speaking to different people. Today, during the official ceremony, one boy came and said, "Hey, my father was."
Yes. It was very nice.
Good to
yes. Thank you very much. And
and he was so grateful about the book. I'm quite sure he would be really the one who is taking the pen, writing notes down, and it could be that you touched his life the most of any other person.
I wish if I can help one person out of 1,000 people, I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. This is fine. Yeah, and there's no problem. And just I will keep going on and advocating innovation, free speaking, open speaking, and free thinking. Thinking is the key as well.
And your life is really on the road. I think I still remember when you were in the PhD program and we were chatting about your progress, and you were saying to me, I always write when I'm on the airplane, because I have long flights.
That's right.
So I take notes, and then they're turned into digital form. But
that's right.
That's the time that you were using.
That's exactly, yes. You have to articulate what you think. Without articulating what you're thinking, is also you create value and you innovate. You put your thinking on the paper. If you don't, you will forget. So you have to articulate everything what you do, and you have to create priority for yourself. Not more than 3 priority in your life, and those priority has to be updated on the stage of your life where you go. What should I do? Exactly like priority when you wake up in the morning. Some people, they can wake up and open the eyes unless they have coffee. Some people, they have to smoke. Some people, they have to eat. This is priority. And then after that, they take a shower, they go to the job, blah, 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 blah. Those different priority, it improves actually with the time. And those priority, you have to put it in your strategy, how to lead your life. What should I do when I'm in the secondary school? What's my priority? 1, 2, 3, not more than 3. Keep it all the time until you finish your goal. When I'm in the university, what is my priority? 1, 2, 3. Keep it only 3, not more than that, until I finish. Even if you're private life with your spouse, put a priority. I don't need to make her angry. I need to make her happy, or she made you happy, whatsoever. And I mean, you can put a priority all the time in order to have a discipline in your life. Very important. And I believe I taught that to my children.
Yeah. I also think discipline is really one of the main keys, really. And I differentiate it from motivation, because motivation is something that today is here, tomorrow is not there. And discipline is something that you can really, if you're strong enough, you can really put it every day, as you said, until you finish it. And it's really nice that what you say, to have 3 goals, because nowadays it's so easy to be, everyone is trying to attract your attention, to take your time for something, and actually very often this is not, I mean, you're doing these things, but without actually asking your questions why I'm doing these things. And why you're doing this thing is the most important. And if this does not resonate with your current state of life and stage of life, you got lost and you lose your purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hesham, what is like the next chapter? I think tomorrow you're flying back.
I'm going for a couple of weeks to Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
For work. So, and the chapter of my life next, I would like to go back to school, and I would like to write, I'm structuring now a book, and the idea of the book actually religion as a tool. Mm-hmm. And the title, my wife actually inspired me to say the title. I didn't know exactly what should I name it. I name it, but she said religion as a tool. We human, we use religion and the name of God to create a fear in the others in order to control them and oppress them. Mm. And that happened since the pharaohs until today. If I would like to make you scared of anything, I tell you, oh, this is, God will not, you are a sinner. Yeah. And this struggling of having God or not God, having believe or not believe, touches every single person, because also it's in DNA. We didn't create ourselves. Mm-hmm. I have no guilt being born here, or this is my color, my face. So, but we struggle all the time with this belief identity. And I am thinking actually about it. And I have seen that religion is, God has nothing to do with religion. Mm-hmm. But the institution of the religions, they have something to do with making us hate the religion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and that's why I would like to put it black and white, that everyone has his own God. If you believe in God or not, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But everyone has a Vorstellung or the imagination, actually, mm-hmm. What is the power behind it to make me do that and this. And this is a little bit philosophic. So, but I am actually now busy, my brain, to think how to structure, but I have to go back to school. I got reserved actually a fellowship with the Harvard University, Divinity School, and I need to go back, and I'll stay for almost 1 year. Okay. Yeah, to research. Yeah. So this is my hobby.
Yeah, but it's really an interesting topic, and from what I see here with this book and the way you wrote it, I think as much as this topic of innovation is important, the same importance is what you say about, because it's both innovation and religion has something to do with our life.
It is innovation. The religion is a spiritual innovation. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. This is exactly connected. This is exactly connected. And with the stories, what are we listening to since we were young? Mm-hmm. This is all innovation, actually. You listen to a different story than I did, and then others in India or in other places in the world, they listen to different stories, and everyone tried to practice these stories and to innovate something out of it and scare the people in order to oppress them. This is actually how it is.
Or to convince the others that your story is right.
Of course. Or you convince the other that your story is right, but it's all stories. Yeah. So this is, A nice, very interesting story. I mean, very interesting, actually, I would say, environment to go into, to discover more, and to put some kind of definition to the things, like what I did with the innovation.
Yeah.
To get really a real definition what it is, why I need it, why I can do it, what is the best way to suggestion. I mean, it's not absolute.
Yeah.
It's just I suggest something.
Yeah.
This is what I did. And the funny thing is, the book, nobody talk about it actually. What I said in the book, nobody. That's why the publisher in the United States was very, very interested in the book. The book has been translated to Arabic and then English. I put it in English, Arabic and Russian language, and presented in Skolokova in University in Moscow about 3 years ago, before the war. And now I'm under actually negotiation with, it's almost done, in Spanish, Portuguese, and Chinese.
Chinese, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can do it in Bulgarian as well, because my thesis is in Bulgarian and they translate it to English.
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote it in English, but they have by law to do it in Bulgarian language, and you can do the book actually in Bulgarian. Is no problem actually.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Perfect.
And I wish to everyone to go and to be innovative, and everyone to be happy with himself and create value.
Yeah.
That is actually the message I give it to all our colleagues.
Thank you, Hesham.
And give it to everyone actually who is listening to us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
It was really a nice talk.
Thanks, bro.
We have one tradition, and actually it's a person with whom we spoke before.
Yeah.
Is writing a question, and we ask that question to the next person.
Okay.
Who is coming. So actually, I just want to read it now, and now say it in a little bit different way, because I want to relate it with what you do. But the question is, what is the one thing now that you think you should have added to your dissertation, or in your case to your book, but you didn't? And if you have to add it now, you would actually do it. Is there something?
Actually, I did add, not the dissertation, to the book. I end the book with the chapter 6 that was about China.
Yeah.
And the globalization, how the transmission of innovation went from the pharaohs to the Chinese. And then I stopped. And then I did add, when Trump came to the power, I started to write again about deglobalization.
Like an addition to the book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was very good. And the publisher liked too much. And then he said, we have to put it.
Yeah.
So I complete my journey actually for the globalization and the globalized world to the deglobalization and what is happening right now. That was Trump time. And now it is actually getting worse. Now it's getting more and more worse than the Trump time. So I because adding something, you can add every single day new stories. But I do, if you would like to read more, you can follow me in LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I added a lot of chapters actually about the pandemic, how we actually survive in the pandemic situation. And I added actually during the pandemic, I wrote it was a very nice actually. And I wrote also about crypto, blockchain. I learned actually, I went to school again to learn crypto and blockchain. And I wrote also about it. So it is, you can add every single day new stories and new things, but important, start with yourself to learn every single day something new.
Yeah. And
this is the most important thing.
It's a very good lesson again for the people, because it's one thing to just notice that you should have put something but you didn't, or you would like to do it, and the other thing is actually to do it like you did.
Yes.
So
articulate.
If you really think it's important, then just do it.
Articulate it.
Yeah.
You cannot do it unless you articulate. Write it.
Great, great, Hesham. I'll give you a pen so that you can write your question for our next guest, okay?
Okay.
You don't know?
I don't know who, he, her, I don't know
That's the
anything.
interesting thing about it. So
Okay. This is good.
Yeah.
Related.
Yeah.
Because everyone has a different opinion about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good to have a discussion because new ideas come.
Exactly.
Discussion, yeah.
Exactly.